And welcome to my channel, or back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about a little thing about restaurants that actually built American food culture. Not the ones people argue about today, but the ones that shaped how whole regions learned what certain foods even were. I'm going to start off with the steakhouse era. Before chain restaurants became punchlines, they were innovators. Dan Blocker, yes, Hoss from the TV show Bonanza helped create Bonanza Steakhouse and Ponderosa. Ponderosa was named after the ranch in the TV show Bonanza, and of course, Bonanza was the TV show's name. These places made the idea of affordable steak dinner mainstream. Sizzler came later and pushed the same model. Steak and Ale, that was a powerhouse for a while. They were teaching America what a steakhouse experience could look like. And then you got the casual dining waves. There was a big boom of that. You got Bennigan's, made a huge cultural footprint. And there were the Irish pub, but not really a pub, Irish vibe, the Monte Cristo, the bar and booth layouts. And then TGI Fridays exploded. You could practically see Bennigan's fade in real time. Same template, newer packaging. Fads of the moment. And then you had the fast food innovators. Burger Chef was one of the originals. A lot of what McDonald's and Burger King still do traces back to Burger Chef's early systems and even their food. Bob's Big Boy, or Big Boy, which was named different after different franchisees, like Bob's Big Boy, Frisch's Big Boy, but it was Big Boy Sandwich was a big, iconic Big Boy outside. And Sambo's were better versions of the modern fast food dining hybrid. They were doing it before it was standardized. Now, Sambo's did have a problem with the name. Over the years, when it first started, it was really about a charming thing about from a book, Sambo and the tiger and all this, and it became a thing where, oh, this is a bad thing, racial this and that. So they really just faded, but they were very good, and they were a great competitor to restaurants like Denny's. And Denny's was a massive thing all over the country. You also had some others that were just as big, but not as profound in the later years, like Howard Johnson's restaurants, which also had the Motor Lodge attached to it, and some of them. But then you had the drive-ins and car culture. And of course, you could remember these drive-in restaurants where you drive your car up, they would roller skate out, and put your food on your window. But in the 70s and so forth, A&W was the forerunner of Sonic. Root beer stands, car hops, trays on windows. That whole drive-in culture didn't come from nowhere. Those chains built it. And over the years, they faded and did that. But what about pizza? Well, pizza, Shakey's Pizza, helped spread pizza across the country. Before that, pizza was regional. East Coast, Midwest, immigrant neighborhoods. Shakey's made it national. Family night out food. And they put on shows and have things on the screens and all that, but then you had the boom of other restaurant chains. You had the Pizza Huts and the Pizza Inns and the Godfather's Pizza and all that. A direct competitor of Shakey's, I think, was Bonnie and Clyde's. They were very similar, where it was more theatrical. It was almost, going to a dinner theater. But then you we get into the seafood that comes inland, because you have Arthur Treachers and Long John Silver's. People forget this part. For inland America, seafood meant fish sticks, maybe canned tuna, maybe a Friday fish fry if you were Catholic. That was it. LJS and Treachers were the first time entire regions tasted fried cod, hush puppies, shrimp baskets, actual seafood. And my father was at Long John Silver's at the very beginning, and he moved our family out to Texas from Lexington, Kentucky, where LJS started, and expanded it all across big parts of the country. Real restaurant people built that chain. After he left in the late 70s, the corporate side took over, and you can see the results today. There are very few of those, very few Treachers. I think there's only one left. And then what about another one that just expanded into our culture? Chi-Chi's did the same thing for Tex Mex. Before Chi-Chi's, most Americans had never had salsa that wasn't mild paste from a jar. No chimichangas, no fajitas, no color, no spice. Chi-Chi's introduced whole regions to Tex-Mex. My dad worked there too. Same story. Once the operations left and the suits took over, the decline was inevitable. There was also a scandal with green onions in the early 2000s that destroyed that chain. Now but they're coming back, but they got a long way to go. But these places weren't just restaurants. They were cultural on-ramps. They introduced foods people had never tasted. They built the systems everyone else copied, and almost every one of them eventually got hollowed out by the same pattern. Operators built it, corporate caretakers inherit it, quality slips, identity blurs, competition rises, the brand fades. So when someone asks why Long John Silver's is still open, or why these old chains mattered, the answer is simple. They were the ones who taught America what these foods even were. They were the innovators before the word became marketing. And the people who built them, the restaurant people, made them work. Once the suits took over, the story changed. Anyway, thanks for hanging out at my channel and keeping up with me. If you got to this part, I'll end it here and talk to you again at another time.